Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Inferi ASMR. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am back with a new Letterboxd recap. This will be for the month of October 2025, and I don't have much of an introduction except for the fact that some of these films towards the end were watched on my way or in Portland. So yeah, I don't know. Let's get straight into it. The first film I watched in the month of October was One Battle After Another, the newest Paul Thomas Anderson film. And I gotta say, I have not really thought about it since, but it was genuinely incredible. Definitely not my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson. I think Magnolia will forever be my favorite, with There Will Be Blood as a close second. But this was amazing. My review says, how can a film be so dramatic, sad, angering, entertaining, funny, shocking? I don't know. 5 stars. It was all those things. It was just the most amazing piece of art. You know, when I watch a film and you're really reminded how cinema is an art form. The plot is, Bob is a washed-up revolutionary who lives in a state of stoned paranoia, surviving off-grid with his spirited and self-reliant daughter Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces and Willa goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her as both father and daughter battle the consequences of their past. So yeah, basically Willa, which she's played by this actress that I've only seen in one thing, and is that terrible? Not terrible. Let me rephrase it. There's this show, this mini series, or what you call it when it's only one season, limited series, with Jake Gyllenhaal. Her name is Chase Infinity. Chase Infinity. That's a sick name. Wow. But yeah, she was in Presumed Innocent. Go and watch it. It's a limited series, maybe on Apple TV, I want to say, or Now TV. But sorry if I'm going on a tangent, but it's just funny to me because that show is actually really good, but then the ending, they messed it up big time. Anyway, and she's in there. But anyway, she's amazing in this one. Yeah, so basically Willa is in danger, essentially because of her parents' past, specifically her mom, which is not in the picture anymore in the present time that we're, following in the film. And yeah, their past, Leo DiCaprio, which plays her father, and Willa's mom, they were in this kind of revolutionary group, I guess, a group of revolutionaries that were very active with illegal immigration and things like that. So, very, very hard watch, specifically with what's happening, right now in the States, but in general in the world, really. And yeah, so it's such a heavy topic. It's also a very personal family story, there's a very bigger picture, a strong bigger picture, but also a very personable story, father-daughter. So yeah, it was just incredible, absolutely incredible. Then I watched Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, and can you believe that I had never seen it before this time. Like, I think it's just crazy because I consider myself a horror fan. I mean, I am a horror fan, but anyway. And I owe so much, or like, my favorite horror franchise is Friday the 13th, and that series, that franchise is completely in debt to Halloween. So, but Halloween was a 3.5. I'm sorry. Is that controversial? Is it a controversial take? It's low-key boring. There's not much, I don't know, happening. The kills are not even that fun, and they're not fleshed out most of the times, and yeah, just a bit, I don't know, just a bit meh. Of course, watching this in 2025 is very different than watching this in 1978. I'm sure it was quite shocking, or scary, I suppose, when it came out. But anyway. Then, okay, so then I have one of two entries from the BFI festival. I went with my partner. Most of my film watching experiences are with him. But yeah, so we went to the BFI festival. We managed to get tickets somehow. It was so hard. In case you're not sure, I'm talking about the British Film Institute, and every October they have a festival. So it's a full-on film festival with red carpets and galas and first screenings and stuff like that. But there's also a ton of indie filmmakers that, of course, participate. And so we went to watch a film by one of those indie emerging directors. And this was Short Summer, directed by Nastya Korkia. And this was a wonderful, wonderful contemplative film about a little girl, Katya, that goes to spend the summer with her parents in the countryside. The background of this very calm and peaceful, summer is the war in, how do you pronounce it? I know it in Italian. Chechen? Yeah, the Chechen War. Does it make sense? Chechnya? Maybe Russian is Chechnya. Sorry. But yeah, so while that's happening, this little girl has actually a very lovely summer in the countryside playing with other children. There is also a personal struggle, I guess, because his grandparents are not getting along, let's say. But this was the definition of a subtle contemplative film. Like, I have now actually recently, so this month, so spoilers for the next recap, but I've watched 3 Kelly, what would you say her name? Kelly Reichardt. So sorry, but I watched Showing Up, First Cow, and Old Joy. And so if you like those films, you would love Short Summer. Really, really good. Give it 4 stars. And it was very special watching it as part of the BFI festival. And we also got to have a little Q&A section with the director, with Nastya Korkia herself. So that was really special. Next, I don't know, one night my partner and I decided to randomly watch Scream 3. I don't know why we chose the third one. Maybe because the last time we watched a Scream film was Scream 2. Maybe that's why. Scream 3 is it's whatever. It's not my favorite I've watched all the Scream films up to 4, so I never watched the 5th, which came out more recently. I don't remember. But the 3rd is like, meh, I don't know. And I don't really like the killer motivation, and the reveal of the killer. I don't know. It's not my favorite Scream. I gave it a 3. 3 for number 3. I think I like the first one, of course. The second one is really strong. And I know people don't like the 4th. I don't think it's really well reviewed. But it's so silly, and I actually low-key love the killer. No spoilers, but I like the killer and the reveal because it's so absurd. Or so, like, stupid. So I have a soft spot for Scream 4, I gotta say. Next, I watched another classic, controversial watch, I suppose, but Rosemary's Baby. Of course, F-U-C-K, Roman Polanski. But this was incredible. Again, I was expecting more horror. I feel like my speech is a bit jumbled today, I don't know. I expected more horror. But of course it's more of a psychological horror, and then the horrific imageries are not very many, but they are very effective. Absolutely very effective. Really scary concept, of course. The ending not as strong as I thought it was going to be. I guess the ending is sad. The ending is very sad. It's not a typical climax of a horror film, But this was incredible. I'm not sure why I gave it a 4. I'm not sure. I always do this, don't I? I re-evaluate my I don't know, my ratings. I guess Rosemary's Baby, very famous novel and film. Also, Mia Farrow's haircut. I want to have that hair so bad when she cuts her hair. And then her husband is like, why'd you cut your hair? Like, I don't like it. And I was like, I wanted to scream through the screen, like, what are you talking about? She looks so cute, like with her little pixie. I loved it. But yeah, it's a young couple that moves into a new apartment in New York. And things get weird and terrible immediately. She falls pregnant. And yeah, the pregnancy is not good. And there's a lot of just weird stuff going on and horrible. Yeah. But I mean, it's a pretty famous story. Next, in preparation for our trip to Portland, we of course rewatched Twilight. Don't have much to say at all about Twilight except that it's perfect, the first one, and I am sad every single day about the fact that the director did not continue with the films. Catherine Hardwicke. I might have mentioned before, my partner owns a Blu-ray copy of Twilight, and it has some special features, as Blu-rays tend to do. And there actually is the full film with commentary of Catherine Hardwicke, Kristen Stewart, and Robert Pattinson, and it is the most entertaining thing ever. If you like Twilight, you might want to try and just look up like the commentary. Maybe in some corners of the internet there's just that the film in full but with commentary. Sorry, let me just do this real quick. Sorry, I just had my telly on. what can I say? Just stunning. And now that I visited Twilight, I have visited Portland and seen some locations. If you haven't watched my Portland vlog, by the way, I'll have it here or here. Now that I watched them, I want to rewatch it again and just like, I don't know, just like stop the frames in the places that I've seen and that I've been to, and I don't know, I'm still just absolutely buzzed. I'm absolutely, I don't know. I want to go back so bad, basically. Next, our second entry for the BFI festival was The History of Sound. Much bigger film, much bigger theater. We went to the, what's it called? It's not quite the South Bank Center. It's like a building that is adjacent to it. I forgot. But anyway, beautiful screening room. My review says prep your tissues type of sad. This is directed by Oliver Hermanus, which directed Living, Mary and George, Muffy, Beauty. I've seen Living just like floating around, but I'm not familiar with him. This was a proper tearjerker, a really beautiful film, like really beautiful, really sad, very dramatic, and it's kind of like an impossible love story between these two musicians at the turn of the century, at the turn of the 20th century. And yeah, it's just like their love through time and different places in the States, different places in Europe. It's just, yeah, it's just like their impossible love story, and them finding each other and kind of missing each other. Sort of like a classic tragedy of like right person, wrong time type of thing. But what I will say is that I'm of course a bit fed up, or not fed up, but I'm just, you know, we have to touch on the topic of queer characters and queer stories not being told by, I'm not referring to the director because I don't know him at all, but casting, sorry, I was getting a text coming through, but yeah, I'm referring to casting actors that are not queer or not out as queer in queer roles. And it's like, before the What If Police comes out, of course we don't know, for all we know Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor could be bi, but that's not the point. The point is that there are so many gay actors that could have fulfilled that role. I feel like as a society we understand now that it's pretty messed up, for example, when cis actors play trans roles. I think we've had enough bad films like that where we're like, okay, but and then we went on to make the right casting choices, like in Emilia Perez, but then proceed to make a bad film. But that's beside the point. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's just so many examples like this, even queer with what's his face. Although of course that was a more there was a bit more layers, you know, with what he represents in pop culture. I'm referring to Daniel Craig. But then there's this other film coming out with one of the Skarsgård brothers. What's his name? Alexander? Yeah, what's his new film coming out? Pion with again, what's his face? I'm terrible. Directorial debut, Harry Melling. Yes, which of course he's from Harry Potter. But yeah, just, I mean, I don't know about him, but I'm pretty positive the Skarsgård is not out of as gay. I might check this later. No, I'm pretty positive he's not. But yeah, so basically, we will surely reach a point where we're just like, and look, these actors are amazing and they're just really good, and I really like these actors, but surely there should be a space, or like more space for, and same for, lesbian love stories. There should be, and I'm not saying like never ever ever cast straight actors to play gay roles, but it's like, it's not really an even playing field. Anyway, these are my 2 cents on The History Sound, which again was still a beautiful film, a very touching film, a very sad story. So, two things can be true at the same time. Okay, next. We watched the limited series Mare of Easttown. Just like Presumed Innocent, the series with Jake Gyllenhaal that I mentioned earlier, this overcomplicates itself so much towards the end. It's not even funny. Like, it just... They're both kind of like not court cases. They are, but it's not a court drama. It's more of an investigation drama. Actually, I like Presumed Innocent is also court drama. Mare of Easttown is more like investigation. So Mare is a police... no. She's a detective. Yeah, she's a detective. In a small town in Pennsylvania, she investigates local murders while trying to keep her life from falling apart. She's mainly following these... Not mainly, she is following these murders of these young girls. And yeah, she's just trying to piece it all together and figure it out. And it's the classic, like, small town, everybody knows each other, everybody's interconnected. And in every episode, you kind of doubt a different character. I'll tell you right now, whatever conjecture, whatever hypothesis you make, you'll probably be wrong, because they have overbaked it, like overbaked it by the end. And it's a shame, because it has some really good moments. It also has some not great moments, in the sense that, like, sometimes it really leans into the tragedy corn of everything, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of messed up stuff and a lot of sad stuff, like all the stuff that you can imagine that is terrible happens. And sometimes films are like this woman has her daughter gone missing, but it can't just be that's her tragedy. She also has cancer on top of that. Or like this other person has like I don't know, it's like every person has got so much tragedy in them, which is very sadly normal and human, and we all have our own struggles. But it's like every single character has multiple complicated issues going on at the same time. It's like, it gives me a bit of whiplash, to be honest. So it's a 3.5. Another 3.5 is for Gremlins, another classic that I never watched it. I finally watched it on the plane to Portland, which wasn't the best video or audio quality, but alas, it was cute. It was fun. It's whatever. Yeah, it was cute. So 3.5. I probably would have given it 4 if I had watched it like properly. After Gremlins, I watched Black Bag, and I thought this was gonna be... I thought I wasn't gonna be invested at all. This is Steven Soderbergh with Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. I thought I wasn't gonna be into it at all, or it was just like gonna be a bit of silly fun, but I got really into it. And it's not a great film, like cinematographs from a from a cinematic point of view, but it's really like addictive, and you really want to know what's going on, really. And like, this also overcomplicates itself quite a bit. It's a bit of like, because these are like, let me read the description. When intelligence agent Catherine Woodhouse is suspected of betraying the nation, her husband, also a legendary agent, faces the ultimate test of whether to be loyal to his marriage or his country. So these are two CIA agents, and there has been some betrayal. Somebody has disclosed some things, you know. So it's a lot of trying to figure out who lied, but of course these are CIA agents, so they're also trained to lie and to be like, you know. So there's a lot of layers, and you really get addicted to like trying to figure out who's trying to get who, and who's betraying who. And yeah, it's really, really thrilling, very thrilling, and the perfect watch on a film. Highly recommend for that. And the last two films, I watched them again with my partner while we were in Portland. So the first one was Good Fortune, which was a wonderful experience in a very lovely 1920s. I'm gonna see if I can put some pictures if you haven't watched my my vlog, but it's the Laurelhurst. Sorry, my foot of course is going numb. The Laurelhurst cinema is just so cool. It's like a 1920s cinema that still has got the little ticket box you know, thing. And Good Fortune was entertaining. It was a 3.5. It was fine. Basically, it was fine. You basically have Keanu Reeves playing an angel, and he essentially it's just a bit silly. He essentially plays he's like a lower ranking angel, basically. And he wants to have more responsibilities from his job. And so he take upon himself to swap the lives of two very different people. One guy is he's just scraping by, he's just trying to figure out what to do in LA, sleep in his car, and that's Aziz Ansari, which is also the director. And then Seth Rogen plays this like Silicon Valley tech bro that has made money with some app, I don't know. And so yeah, Keanu Reeves swaps their lives, and you know, he thinks, oh, they will they'll both figure out that, well, actually Seth Rogen is fine, he doesn't have much, or like he can do some learning, but the one that is struggling is Aziz Ansari. And what Keanu Reeves hopes that he'll figure out is that even with money, your problems don't go away and stuff, but it's like it kind of backfires because Aziz Ansari ends up having a great time, and he doesn't want to let go of this newfound wealth. It's just funny. It's funny. And then lastly, we went to watch Shelby Oaks. Now, I gave it a 4, and I said not, what did I say? I said not perfect, but absolutely terrifying. Sometimes something that so many recent horror films are not. Sorry, that was my computer. Now, so in case you're unaware, Shelby Oaks is the most backed horror film on Kickstarter ever. And it is directed and written by Chris Stuckman, who is a famous film reviewer on YouTube. Famous YouTuber. Fairly famous. He's not like Mr. Beast, but you know. So he's made this film, and a lot of the marketing and a lot of Chris Stuckman's perspective on the film is it's incredible. You know, his angle is very much about the industry and how hard it is to make films, and how incredible it is that it was self-funded, and how important it is to support small directors, emerging directors and filmmakers. And so his point of view is very much like, we need to support cinema now more than ever, which is true and it is fair. But it wasn't the best film. I mean, and I'm saying this because I put four because it was very scary. Now, it wasn't the strongest story, it wasn't the best execution of a story. You know, it's there were a lot of things that were not, you know, if I look at it analytically, it wasn't the best. The reason why I give it four, as I said in the review, is because it was very scary. It just was very scary, and I watch not a lot of horror, but I watch enough horror where it's like, maybe I'm a bit desensitized to what happens in films. And so, yeah, I don't know. I was just scared. I was scared. I was stressed. My heart was racing. And so I think that's something to recognize when it comes to horror films, is that a lot of times horror films are not scary. And I kind of go into it a lot of times for it. I mean, sometimes I just leave with a good story, or with, I don't know, something to think about. But yeah, so Shelby Oaks is a tricky one. Yeah, has a rating of 2.7. Yeah, I think, yeah, to be fair, every scene had like jump scares, so maybe that's why my heart was racing, and you know, I was scared, but it still got that effect. I think I'm gonna knock it down to a 3. Yeah, I think that's a more accurate representation. I think I gave it a 4 in the moment of like the euphoria of the post scare euphoria. Um, but yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know down below if you have any more film related recommendations, because I love making film content, or film related content. I just don't know exactly what I can talk about, except talking about the films I watch. Or I mean, I would like to do some ranking videos. I would like to do some more like compilation collections, like lists, like suggestions for different genres or themes or whatever. Actually, yeah, that would be a good idea. Different themes. But yeah, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you very soon in my next video.